Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Watch Trading Academy video. Now today is a really special day. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to do one of these in a while, but joining me today is Faizan. Now Faizan is a very good watch trader, and I have watched his journey come up for the last, what, like 3 years now?
Yes.
3 years that
Yes.
we've met kind of on the internet,
Yeah.
and you've taken on watch trading. And it is such a good day today because I get to give you one of these. Now, if you don't know what one of these is, it's an award for having hit $100,000, not in sales, but in profit in a rolling 12 months.
Yeah.
That means you actually had enough money to buy this fancy suit and jacket and that AP and everything, and now you're rich like the rest of us. Well, congratulations. I want to present you this award.
Thank you
So
much.
how does it feel to hit one? I mean, you didn't even know you were going to do this well, right?
No, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would actually be where I'm at right now. When I started, it was just like, okay, always liked wearing watches and fancy watches, and always, Rolex and AP, they've always been like those unreachable kind of watches. That
You like
think
wearing
about.
cheap but luxury watches, meaning
Yes.
cheaper, like Submariners and watches like that?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, in my circle, you would say, oh, Movado is something expensive.
Okay, Movado
right?
is, okay.
So, I mean, when from there, and you look at Rolex and you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe when I'm older.
It's like a dream come true, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, when Watch Trading Academy came out, I'm like, okay, let's give this a shot. Maybe I can, buy and sell and at least break even and not lose money on stuff. So, that's really how it started, and I never.
Well,
thought
what were
that.
you doing then? Did you have a job?
So I was running my own CPA firm at the time.
So you're a lawyer? Or an
At that
accountant?
time, yes. At that time,
Okay.
yes. But then I became a lawyer.
Okay, so an accountant at the beginning, kind of going on to law school too,
Yes.
from what I remember,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, and you were doing that, and you were thinking that a Rolex was like a far dream, like a Ferrari.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how did you even discover Watch Trading Academy? Like, how did you even know that we existed? Because at the
so-
time, we weren't as big as we are now.
No, so I started with getting into your Secret Academy platform.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's-
My boot camp and all that stuff.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
exactly. So that's where I initially was found you from, and then at the same time, then when you came out with Exotic Car Hacks first, so I joined that. Didn't really do much at that point, but when you came out Watch Trading Academy, that's where I thought it's something that when starting investment of only like $1,000–$1,500 is something that okay, I could actually go in and try it out and see how it goes.
Okay, so it was appealing because it's something you could act on instantly. The
Correct.
car thing, you weren't ready to have a Ferrari as a CPA.
Right.
It was like tax write-off. Ferrari, makes sense. Audit, bad idea. Okay, back to reality.
Yes.
Okay, so you found Watch Trading Academy and you got started. How long did it take you to buy your first watch?
So it actually took me about a year to actually get into it.
Okay, so you bought it and kind of got scared and you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, so I actually bought it the first day that you actually launched. So that's when I got it, and then basically sat there for about a year. So I think it came out in 2017 or 16, and then December of 17 is when I bought my first watch. You can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
you
that's
waited
when
like a good year before you even started.
Correct.
It didn't take you a year to buy your first watch. You just waited because you weren't ready to take action.
Yes, exactly.
From the first watch, tell me a little bit about how much fear you had going into this. I'm just curious because a lot of people, they're watching this. They're going,
Right.
$100,000 may not seem like a lot to people, but this is a side gig for you. It's not even
Right.
it's not your income. It's
Right.
like, hey, this is what's going to get you to Ferrari. You're like, my Ferrari fund is on the side.
Correct, exactly.
So if you have that, I'm just curious, like, because they're looking at themselves and they go, I got a $2,000 Breitling, I got this thing I just bought.
Yep.
How long did it take you to go from the first watch to being comfortable enough to trade watches?
So I think actually, of course, your course really helps in giving a good detailed understanding of exactly how to do the whole process. Plus, the Facebook group really helped with looking at other traders that are out there who are actually going and doing transactions. And it really is all about just jumping in and doing the deals, because that's really how you get out of the fear of the unknown, right? When I even buying before my first watch, it was all about always doing the calculations. Okay, is this the right target price? And you get stuck in that fear of just working out the numbers, and then but I got what according to me was, I felt a good deal that came on locally, and I got it. And after a couple of weeks when it sold and I made a profit, that was really encouraging to me. And then I was like, okay, this is something that I can actually do. And then it just turned into hunting for more deals. And then I think after, you can say maybe the first 10 deals, after that you actually kind of get into the flow of things.
So it's that thing I keep saying, do 10 deals so
Yes.
you get the experience back and forth.
Exactly.
One of the things I love about your story is you're the perfect success story for Academy that kind of followed the model. Like, meaning you didn't go to like, oh, I'm just going to do my own thing, figure this out completely different. You kind of followed the model we kind of put forward for
Yes.
people. Even when it's like, doesn't make sense and we go like, hey, do 10 free deals, and everybody's like,
Yes.
oh, why would I do that? I don't lose the money. But
Yes.
you're like, yeah, I'm just going to do that. And then you
Yeah.
kind of gain the benefit from that over time.
Yes.
And a lot of
exactly.
people that are watching this probably are like, well, I thought this was more exciting to make $500 here, or $200, and they get caught in this other kind of their own version of the model, which isn't really
True.
what we teach.
True.
And you've seen that in our group too. You see people kind of asking about watches that are like, well, those aren't on the list. Why are you doing that for your first watch?
And I always tell people, just follow the process.
Right, it's there to,
Yeah, just
to
trust
give you
the
the baseline
process.
so that you
Exactly.
can get through it. I mean, enough people have gone through it now. So for you, what was the hardest part of the first 10 watches? Was it the buying, the selling? What was it?
I would say that the buying was probably the hardest part in the sense of first, getting comfortable with the numbers. If that what you're buying is at the right price, and second, then being always kind of concerned if what you're buying is correct or not, is genuine or not. Then doing your due diligence, vetting the seller, and all of that, that whole process. Because at the end of the day, the buying is really where it's all at. That's where you make your money.
Like I would say,
So-
you make money on the buy, not on the sell.
Exactly. So as long as you buy right, selling shouldn't be a problem.
Correct.
So that's why I would say that the buy was really the one that I had to really focus on.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, so you started with part one, then you actually progressed to part two and some of these other courses we have. Tell me, what was your biggest discovery once you jumped onto part two? Because a lot of people don't realize how much more information is in part two. Like, because they see the
Right.
simplicity of part one.
Right.
And they go, oh, it's just
Right.
going to be like more of the same.
Right.
They don't realize that it's a whole like dynamic shift of how we look at watch trading. What did you discover from part two?
So I think part two really gives you an in-depth understanding of the industry as a whole, exactly how the industry operates, about the dealers, how they operate, about jewelers, how they operate. So when you're out there actually doing deals, and a lot of times you have to deal with ADs, dealers, and jewelers, so you know exactly how they deal, and you know how to approach them accordingly. And it's really, and getting that deeper understanding of exactly how the industry works leads you into being much more able to do better deals and make more margin, right? So I think that was really the main thing from
Okay, and then you continued your learning journey with Night Watch and some of these other courses.
Correct, yeah.
What were kind of your takeaways from some of this other stuff, and why was it helpful?
So I think with the other courses, it's because everybody that comes in and does, is successful, they bring their own little spin to it.
Correct.
So it's always beneficial to see how somebody else approached something and how they were successful at it. And because it's not necessary that just from one person, their point of view may relate to other people. So looking at how other people have done it just might relate to me better. And that actually has happened because from a couple of different courses I saw, okay, they explained the selling process really well. So that really helped me with the sales process, keeping in touch with clients and stuff like that, which I had never thought of before. So that I think was important. Yeah.
So, you go through these courses, and I know at the time you're going through them, obviously you're not making $100,000 doing it because you're learning. What's your advice for people who are watching this and who may say, like, well, there's just a lot of information, right?
Right.
when do I need what, and how do I make a decision as to how do I move forward? Because you're doing this part-time. You finally reached the 100K club. You're the first person, actually, in our entire community that has reached $100,000 in rolling profits over the last 12 months that is doing this part-time. We knew people have made this number, but they certainly haven't made it part-time. They kind of chose watch trading. You're still a CPA, a lawyer. I see kind of the business stuff you're trying to do. You kind of always adding new channels to yourself. So that's fantastic. I think it's a really good thing, because one of the beauties of watch trading is I always said it can be passive and can be part of what you do.
Yes.
And once you get good at it, it can't be at the beginning, but
True.
Once you get good at it, you're like, hey, I get a phone call, I get a watch, I get another call, and just keep moving watches. It's very easy. It doesn't require a lot of time and effort. But at the beginning, obviously, it takes a lot of grilling and going on, etc. What advice do you have for people that watch this and say, well, how do I get from where I am to kind of getting to that passive mode? Like, what matters most? Is it education? Is it just practice? Like, where do I go from where I am as a Part 1 member to where I am today, where you are today?
So I would say education is key always, and that's the thing. People approach me also in the group saying, should I get Part 2? Should I get the advanced courses? And I always say yes, because first thing is you always invest in yourself, and how you invest in yourself is education. And then apart from that, you follow the process, you trust the process, even if you think that this doesn't make sense to me, or why don't I just do this, or I have this amazing deal, but it's not the right watch that we recommend. You just don't do it. And at the same time, it's practice, right? You just do the deals. The more deals you do, the better you get, the better of a network you accumulate, and that just helps you get to that point of it becoming passive. Mm-hmm. Because as you say now, before you used to say that it becomes passive and you just, you get offered watches and you can just sell it with a phone
For me,
call.
it's very chill.
And, before this point, that also kind of seemed like unreal to me, right? That
people would call you to offer you good deals.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would you call me? Call another guy.
Right. And, but now, I'm at the level where just yesterday I had like 3 people out of the blue just offer me watches who I've never done business with before, but they see me in the business. So they're like, okay, I see you in the business, you sell a lot, you buy a lot, so maybe you would be interested in this. And those are the really good deals, because they actually have not shopped it.
And they can't move it, and they just get panicked, and they're like, hey, do you want to buy it? You look like you would pay for it. Yeah.
Right, and that's it. So, and same thing. And then I text a couple of people, and I'm like, hey, would you be interested in this? And one person says yes, and then, I made $2,000 in a couple minutes.
I know, it's good, right? It's the best, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah, while you're sitting there.
Exactly. So
I remember I was in London with Cal, and as I'm in London, I'm like, man, I haven't traded any watches at all, like this week, like at all. And I'm like, fuck, like what are we gonna do? And then he's like, well, it's like, let's go buy watches. I was like, all right, let's go buy. I was like, I have watches, I just haven't sold anything because I haven't picked up any calls. I'm international. And then I suddenly made one phone call, and the guy ordered 2 Green Dial Daytonas that I had sitting, and I had like 4 sitting here, and he was like, oh, I'll take the 2. And each of them were like 16 grand. And I was like, well, that paid for the 30 grand. Done deal, like, have a good day.
Exactly.
And I was like, wait, did I really spend 35 grand for like 4 days in London? I was like, yeah, we need to watch the spending too. But it keeps the beauty of it is it makes money flow all the time to a way where you actually get very complacent towards money, because right? You work a regular business, and you're like, I have to put in 10 man hours, and I'm getting this $5,000 contract.
Yes.
And here you're like, I just picked up a phone call, and I just text 2 people, and I made $5,000, and you go, why am I doing this?
That is so true, and that actually, I would say kind of sometimes it's a bad thing, because I'm like, I have to deal with this client, and I have to sit there for this many hours, and I'll make $3,000-4,000. But I could just, get this watch, and I know this person wants it, and that maybe a few minutes, and I'll make the same amount of money. So do I really want to? And
you get lazy. I know.
Yes, exactly.
You get very lazy.
Yeah. So,
dude, tell me about it. Like sometimes I'll look at stuff, and I'm like, and I know it sounds really bad, but it's true. You get to a place where I am making more money trading watches on a monthly basis that I need to live, and I live really well. I mean, I have all the stuff I want, so it's not like I'm like, oh, well, I'm trying to budget. I do all the stuff I want. I have all the stuff I want, and I still go, well, I'm still maintaining that just with watch trading. Now, my other businesses make more, but I'm like, you get to a place where it's all going to savings, and then you're like, I keep getting taxed on it, so maybe I got to use your services to stop writing 7-figure tax checks, But I think one of the things that I wanted to also cover is at least your personal strategy of what has worked well for you. What watches have you found now that you've gotten the groove work really well? Why do they work well? And what advice do you have for people that obviously are seeing people play with the AP, Rolex, and stuff, and maybe can't be there?
So, so right now, when I started off, it was more into the Breitlinks and Omegas and all of those, you can say kind of a lower tier brands. But then I moved into AP and Rolex, and that's 90% of what I do right now. And really what has helped me there is that the benefit of those brands is that they move faster. So your capital, your investment, is constantly
You're turning the
growing.
money faster.
Exactly. So you're turning the money faster, and if you have 10 to 15% margins on every watch, then that's just more money for you at the end of every month. So that's really where I'm at right now, and I think it just also on the other side of scales, I wanted to move up into higher dollar brands and higher dollar watches just because I see this as an inflow into my other businesses. So, people who are buying 50,000, 30,000.
It's interesting you said that. So talk a little bit about that, because I think we missed that, and I don't want to miss that opportunity to talk about this. You said it's kind of an in into your other business. How has watch trading helped in business in general?
Right. So it actually has helped my CPA firm and my law firm both,
Okay.
because when you have people buying $30,000, $50,000 pieces, either they are really well placed executives or they are business owners. So, and they both need accountants and lawyers.
Meaning they have
right?
money, like
Yeah, and
to
they have
spend,
money.
and they're not.
And the other thing is that and people at those levels, they typically can afford to pay more for your services
Right.
and pay better than any other.
Because they're buying quality and they're not buying the
Exactly.
need at that moment because
Exactly.
they're being sued.
Exactly.
Or something.
So this has led me into, you can say, an upper level of clientele, right? That I like servicing better because for the same amount of time, I can charge more for my other businesses. So making money just doing the watch trading is great, but how it has transitioned and have actually led me into generating even more profits for my law firm and CPA firm has been even better.
So it's got that residual effect now where
Yes.
you're finding clients because of it, and
Correct.
it's also helping you identify better clients because
Yes.
of money. But you were saying that Rolex and AP are really your bread and butter too.
Correct.
What were your favorite brands before you were playing with Rolex?
So I would say that I was Panerai has always been a really favorite brand of mine. Their classic models do move well, and then Omega, they've kind of been. I think they're as good as Rolex in terms of quality, and they also have a good following. So Panerai and Omega, I would say, were my go-to ones.
And what are your average margins now compared to when you started?
So I would say when I started, I was doing maybe 5 to 10%. Now I'm probably around the 10 to 15% mark. A lot of times, maybe the percentage margins are lower, but because I'm dealing in higher dollar pieces, the dollar amount is more.
Right, so you're making more per unit. Yeah.
Exactly. So, on a $30,000 watch, I'll make $3,000. It's 10%, but it's just $3,000.
It's $3,000, yeah,
So
of course.
that's
And you don't have to recycle 5 watches to make that 3,000.
Exactly.
You can just make that in one
Yes.
hit. So it's less work for
Yep.
more. Now, one of the questions I get a lot, and I'd love to get your opinion on this from someone that's kind of recently started this. I've been doing this for a very long time. Is people ask me, well, I have the capital. They're like, I have $100,000. Should I be buying AP and Rolex to begin with from the very beginning?
Right. So I would say no. I would say that it's better to start off small and then work your way up because it's really important to get an idea of how the transaction works. Because when you're starting off, the buying and the selling, the doing your due diligence on your buyers, on your sellers, it's very important. So if you get scammed or you lose money, maybe you lose $1,000 or $2,000, which is a lot better than losing $20,000, $30,000. So just getting comfortable with how the transaction works because it's very, very different because a lot of times you have wires involved, you have PayPal involved, and all of these other different modes of payments. So that's one of the things. But at the other end also, if you start off selling really high dollar watches, the buyers who are buying from you, when they are spending that kind of money, they need to know that you are a trustworthy person to deal with. And typically how they do is they want to check your references and see, okay, have you sold previously the same caliber of watches? And if you're just starting out and you just start off with $20,000, $30,000 watches, it makes them very hard for you to trust them.
So you don't have that reputation in the game
Correct.
that you're worthy of getting a $30,000,
Yes.
$50,000 wire.
Exactly.
Very cool. So what's next for you? I mean, I know you're CPA, you're lawyer, you're watch trader now. I mean, what's coming up next? Are you doing anything? Or are you going to continue to trade watches on a part-time basis? Or are you going to make it into a business? Or start your own jewelry store? What are we going to see? Faizan's watches on Fifth Avenue. I'm like, this little hustler.
I think that it's not, I don't have any plans of opening a jewelry store anytime soon, but I think I'm going to progress this as it's been going. I have kind of played into starting kind of like an investment fund, so people are interested in investing with me in the watch game also. So looking at maybe expanding that as well. And just using watch trading to expand my CPA firm and my law firm at the same time, and hopefully this just goes into more of a bigger profits with more passive. So
Okay. So you're going to continue to kind of do what you're doing with AP and Rolex, and that's been working well for you. Are there any other brands you haven't had a chance to really get into that you want to get into?
So I still have to get into Patek. Patek Philippe is also one of those holy trinity brands, and that I would like to start trading into, and Richard Mille. So those two are the next ones that are on my list.
Oh, well, everything's a progression. It's a game up. Any last words of wisdom for people that are new and perhaps joining us, recently and just see the success in the group and can't seem to connect the dots? Any advice you want to leave them with?
So I would say that just go through the courses. I see a lot of people who come in and they just want to start running off the bat, but just slow down, calm down, just go through all the courses, follow the process, invest in yourself, invest in the higher education, and this can become a really, really good side hustle for many people, and for many people has turned into replacing their full-time income. So good luck to everybody, and I'll see you in the group.
So guys, a big thank you to Faizan for coming here and sharing some wisdom with you guys. So I appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
Thanks again, man. And then for all of you guys watching, listen, the 100K Club is really those people who have the baseline for part 2, right? And understand that taking the right steps will lead them to a place where in 12 months rolling, they could be at $100,000 in profits, regardless if you're doing part-time like Faizan or you're doing full-time like some of our other members who have previously been crowned into this club as well. This is an opportunity for you to start taking watch trading seriously. People like Faizan are a perfect example that even if your circumstance, you're going to school, you have a business, you have a job, it doesn't make a difference. You can still start and take small steps towards very big results that eventually take time to take place, right? And so I want all of you guys to really think about this as you undertake your journey in watch trading, as once more we've proved that not only does the process work, but that normal day-to-day people, regardless of their circumstance, part-time or full-time, can use these strategies to actually benefit their life. So a big thank you guys for watching. A big congratulations to you one more time for getting here. You're one of my favorite students that has gotten here because of your very systematic approach and very strategic approach to actually learning the concept before applying it. And I think so many people try to find their own way in this game, and yet so few just use the process that's already there in place to get them here at least, to then branch out and get even more. Because I always say watch trading isn't really fun until you have $100,000 in the bank doing it.
True.
See you guys on the next one, and who will be next, that's up to you guys.